Welcome to Muscatine's 2022 State of the City Address. I'm Mayor Brad Bark, and we'll be joined by our City Administrator, Carol Webb, and Communication Manager, Kevin Jenison. Thank you, MCC and Chad Bishop and team for hosting the site for this year's State of the City Address. I'd like to give a quick thanks to our country, state, county, and city officials, our local city administration, department directors, and all the employees that make our city wonderful. Our education system, our healthcare system, large and small businesses, and the nonprofits. I'd also like to give a special thanks to the men and women who keep us safe 24/7. And of course, the men and women and children that call Muscatine home. Thank you so much. I'd like to extend a special thank you to all the past mayors and council members who have given their time and energy that helped build the foundation for our current leadership to build upon. Over the past 2 years, we've come a long way. And it feels good to get out of the house and walk in our historic downtown or enjoy the city's 15 miles of active trails and our 21 park and recreational areas to socialize with others from the community. Today, we will talk about our vision for the city of Muscatine and how we will take steps forward to tackle those known issues for the betterment of our community. We need to celebrate the accomplishments, work together to improve our community, and create opportunity for all. Now, we will answer some questions that were sent to us from the community. Kevin Jenison will be facilitating these questions, and City Administrator Webb and I will be responding.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Jenison, the Communications Manager for the City of Muscatine, and tonight it's my privilege to be here with Mayor Brad Bark of the City of Muscatine and City Administrator Carol Webb on the 2022 State of the City Address. I will be asking several questions of these two, and they will give you the highlights of where we've been, where we're going, and what our expectations are. So let's just start off with the first question. The city is still feeling the impacts financially from the COVID-19 pandemic, but has still been able to put together a lengthy list of accomplishments over the last year. Most of these will have far-reaching effects for the future of Muscatine and her ability to attract residents and businesses who want to live here and stay here. Can you elaborate on some of these accomplishments and what they mean to the future of Muscatine?
Yes, thank you so much, Kevin. And yeah, so basically some accomplishments from 2021 to start out with was one of my first meetings in December, which was City Council conducted a goal setting session. And this was a great experience for myself, just kind of coming into this whole, coming into being the mayor of Muscatine and talking about goals, present goals, then goals for our future to come, for Muscatine. So just having everybody collaborate around a big table and talk about, some of the cool things that are going to be happening and just some things that we have to also work through as a team, with all different facets of the city of Muscatine as well. So, and that goal setting session can actually be found on our website, muscatineiowa.gov. If you go through there and search, you'll be able to find that and look at that as well. Another accomplishment was adopting Ignite Vitality through workforce housing as the city's housing plan. And with this, from the beginning of 2021, it's been estimated that more than 200 housing units have been completed or initiated here in the city of Muscatine, and which gets us really close to that housing plan goal of 300 houses in 3 years. So we're almost there, but then we add in this year's already with an additional 100 units as well that are they're actually in pre-development phases as we speak. So we're definitely going to meet that and or go above and beyond that goal, which I'm extremely excited about. I know everybody else would be extremely excited about that as well. And we're also focused on reducing nuisance properties here in Muscatine as well. So going through the community and identifying some houses that are dilapidated and basically doing a demo and then having the opportunity to bring new development on that site. And one of the first projects that I worked on with the Community Foundation, actually the first day, I believe it was August 23rd, they demolished a house on the corner of 7th and Spring Street, and therefore making way for the Homes for Iowa house project. And this house project was pretty cool in the sense that this house was built by prisoners in Newton, Iowa, and was driven by, put on a large truck, this whole house, and then slid onto the foundation and make an opportunity for a first-time home buyer to, plant their roots here in Muscatine. And they're pretty close to, Hy-Vee downtown. They're close to, if they work at Hahn, it's just a nice little, walkability opportunity for them and their family as well. And the last one I'll touch on is just the community events here in Muscatine as well. We have the Hampshire Ballet, the Almost Friday Fest, which is extremely amazing to go to as well. Good music, just socializing, number one, just getting out there, breathing in the fresh air, socializing, talking with friends. And then we also have the food truck fight that happened. And then the Chamber of Commerce has been doing an amazing job with just all these ribbon cuttings that are happening, these new businesses that are coming into Muscatine as well, and just other events that they're putting on as well. So that's all I have for that question.
Very good.
Thank you.
Carol, it's been an eventful first year, basically, for you on the job, and
It has.
there has been quite a few accomplishments under your guidance. What are some of the ones that you would like to highlight?
Sure. So I started with the city in August of 2020, which was right in the middle of the COVID pandemic, which, as everyone knows, continued on into 2021. But in spite of all that, we were able to maintain services for the community and even offer some new innovative programs that we hadn't offered previously. It's just one example of how we continued services. Our Muscatine Fire Department in 2021 responded to a record number of calls for service. They responded to over 5,700 calls for service, which is an amazing amount for a community of this size. So kudos to that team for all of the long hours and the many nights they spent transporting patients and doing, meeting the needs of the community. That's just one example of things that continued on in the community through the COVID pandemic. Our Parks and Rec Department, particularly recreation, our recreation director, Kelsey Stafford, did a fantastic job of innovating around new programs that were offered to the community. And the one that I think was sort of the most noteworthy is Trunk or Treat, which was a new event offered, I believe, first time in 2020, and then we offered it again in 2021. And so many people from the community turned. I want to say we had like 1,200 participants. It was something along those lines. I know my husband and I hosted a trunk, and we ran out of candy really early on. So we tried to entertain the kids, but just one example of some new things that we did last year. We also had closed the aquatic center in 2020 because of COVID, but we reopened in 2021 and were able to, I think, have a pretty successful season and plan on doing the same in 2022. We also completed a couple of really important infrastructure projects. We completed the downtown streetscape project in fall of 2021. So that was, I think, a fantastic benefit to the community. It looks really great down there. If you haven't been to the downtown lately, come down and see some of the brickwork that was done and some of the planning, the streetscape that was added. So I think that's a positive for 2021. And then we also completed the Park Avenue 4 to 3 lane conversion. So if you haven't driven down Park Avenue lately, take a ride. It's a nice, smooth ride. And I think the crew did a great job on that one. And then, as 2021 wrapped up, the city staff began working on the city budget, and we were able to present a balanced budget to the council for their consideration, which they did adopt earlier this year. So those are some of the highlights. There's much more I could mention, but
That is true. We've had a fantastic year of being able to put together some projects and seeing them through, and all moving forward for the best of everyone. Speaking of projects, we've had several privately funded projects that could have a pretty big impact on the future of Muscatine. that have received support from the city, including the Stanley Peace and Safety Building, the South End Improvement Project, and the Riverfront Amphitheater. Can you elaborate on some of these privately funded projects and even the projects that we are undergoing right now that will have a far-reaching effect on the future of Muscatine?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, to start out with, the Stanley Peace and Safety Building is actually projected to be finished in November of 2022. And I talked to the vice president there, Mark Seaman, regarding that. And it's one of the first of its kinds. It's the first certified living building in Iowa, number one. And the other cool components of this building is, they're going to be able to generate 105% of their power, their electricity from solar, which is, I think, really cool too. And then on top of that, they're going to be catching rainwater that is going to be coming in, obviously from the sky, and they're going to be collecting it, of course, and they're going to be collecting that and utilizing that water within the actual building itself, and partnering with MCSA to also help them with their water as well. And they're also going to have an on-site to grow produce as well to help supply the food pantry there at MCSA. So really a cool project that the team's working on over there as well. The South End Community Improvement Project is a $2 million investment into the Parks and Rec, or into the parks infrastructure. And this is not adding parks, but adding amenities to the parks. And, there's been a lot of good feedback from the citizens already regarding the upgrades that have been talked about at City Council, as well. The splash pads, of course, is a great item for kids, and my kids are excited about that as well, but just to name a few. The Riverfront Amphitheater Design Project, and also known as the Wave. There's been a public meeting regarding this, actually on the riverfront, and it's been, just looking at the design, the cool, unique design of the Wave on top of the roofing structure as well. And it's right next to one of the best assets we have here in Muscatine, the Mississippi River. So just to have people get out, have fun, listen to a concert, that's going to be a great thing. And then I'm guessing the Almost Friday Fest would probably take place at this place as well, which would be really just nice to see the lights. It lit up at night as well. And, we're greatly improving local animal ordinances to promote a safe community for animals and humans. And this comes back to the citizens that come into the city council meetings. We're so thankful for you. Just to give your feedback on everything as well. And, your feedback during public hearing, we take that into account. We are listening for sure. And we're utilizing that to basically mold ordinances and how everything is going to work once it's voted upon as well. So again, thank you for that as well. And the last one I'd like to touch on is the Arbor Commons subdivision. This construction is actually beginning several new houses right now, and the city is assisting the developer with tax incentive funds, TIF, to help get this project moved along. And I know that we're all excited to see it, through and through, and to be finished up coming up.
Very good. Well, Carol, I know that there's many city projects ongoing. At least the people let us know that they're having a little bit of difficulty navigating around all the construction activity, but the end result, I think, will be something that they will be very pleasantly surprised about. Would you like to talk about some of these projects?
Sure. So one of the ongoing projects is the Grandview Avenue Reconstruction Project. That's a two-phase project. The first phase was last summer. This year we've started up that project again for phase two. If we just ask the public, be very patient with us. We anticipate finishing the project at the end of this year, but before the end of this year. And so if you just hang with us, we will complete it on time, barring any, unforeseen circumstances. But if you have a business down there, you want to access a business, you can always reach out to the city to ask questions about detours. We do have a weekly meeting down there for the businesses. We do want to stay in touch with the folks that are impacted by our projects so that we can make sure that they have some business continuity during those times. So we're here to support you through that. But I think in the end, we're going to have a great new roadway down there with some additional streetscape items similar to what we have in downtown. We're also, as Kevin mentioned, spring is the time of year where we begin doing things like pavement management and pothole patching and that kind of thing. And again, I know it's a little short-term pain, but hopefully for long-term gain, as I know managing our roadways for safety, to make sure your car doesn't get damaged, those kinds of things. So we are dedicated to that, and we do allocate about roughly $1 million a year to conduct pavement management in the community, so it is a priority for us. One other project I wanted to mention was that we recently conducted a community survey. So this is a survey that many communities utilize. It's something that we can look at the results that we get from our community members and benchmark those results against other communities, and it really helps us format the goals and the projects, policies, initiatives that council undertakes. And so we are anxiously awaiting the tabulated results from that survey. And when we get those back, we'll be informing the council, and then we will also communicate to the community about what we learned and what some of the next steps are. So that's just like the tip of the iceberg on all the things that that we're working on right now. But it's something, I think, that just some small examples of the way that the council and the staff are really investing in Muscatine and moving it forward.
Very good. Mayor, you've already touched on a little bit about some of the emphasis that we placed on updating the code of Muscatine to bring it up to more modern standards, or to be in alignment with the state code. One of the ways that we have been able to put together ideas from staff and from our administrators is listening to the public. And this has been a very important aspect for our community and for our discussions on policy making. How important is this interaction between the city and the citizens, not only in regards to the code revisions, but also in developing projects and services in the future?
No, another great question, of course. And there's three items that pop into my mind right away. The first one is the Canadian Pacific merger. There's been a lot of talk about the CP merger coming up. And we've taken some input. Facebook, people will send their input to us as well. And just trying to figure out, obviously from everyone reaching out, safety is number one. Safety and the aesthetics of our riverfront are definitely probably the top two. Would you agree with that also?
I'm sorry, the two you said were the
safety and like aesthetics.
Sure, yes, yeah, I agree with that, yeah.
And so with that being said, we thank everybody for their input, and of course we want safety comes first here at the city of Muscatine. So we're looking at ways to mitigate the increased train traffic that could happen, and items like that. So by looking at grade separation items as well, and then also, is there opportunities to increase quiet zone? But of course, a lot of that costs money as well to do that. Another item is the Housing Council. The Housing Council is a group that gets together once a month and talks about housing. No surprise at all. And the cool thing about this is it started with an executive council basically that wanted to basically better the quantity and quality in Muscatine, the city of Muscatine as well. So with that being said, there's 6 task groups that the community has created, and basically we've got leaders, we have experts in fields, so we have people that work at a bank, we have developers, we have contractors, you name it, every type of field out there coming together, working together, getting their input, and then from there we get to share that with leaders of the city that can make things happen as well. And the last item I'd like to touch on is a survey that was recently updated, or basically recently pushed out there on our website as well, is a survey that contractors and developers are able to fill out after a project, just to kind of talk about, what's going well, with the project, what are some things to possibly improve on as well, that the city can look into as well. Because our main thing is we are looking at each other as, city, contractors, developers, we're all partners in this as well to make Muscatine better and more vibrant as well.
I know you and I have had many conversations about ways to improve the communication between us and our citizens, and I know that's one of your chief goals is to be able to create better communication. How important is that?
Well, I mean, the council, all of the council being the decision-making body for the city, they really rely on input from the voice of what we consider to be our customers or the community members of Muscatine. And so I think it's critically important. There are things where you might have, as a resident, a particular issue that you need addressed, and we have avenues for that. We actually have something on our website. You can go online and submit a concern. That gets routed through the city staff, and so that you get a timely response. We're actually enhancing that process. We'll be offering more options, like a app, those kinds of things, and you'll hear more about that coming up. But we want to hear what our community's needs are, and we want to respond to that in an efficient and effective manner. So I think there's that, but then there's also just generally the policies that govern the city, the things that are in city code, or policies or the resolutions that council adopt when they take a position on a certain issue. And any resident, or frankly anybody, can reach out to a council member via email. Every council member has a city email address. The mayor has a city email address. So if you're not comfortable coming to a council meeting, you can email concerns. We often receive letters at City Hall, just handwritten letters. So whatever is the best way for you to communicate, we will take that. We have processes for managing that input, and we'll make sure that they get to your elected officials. So really, absent of input from the community, I think the council and staff are sort of largely, focusing on, what's happening in other communities, what's happening sort of nationally, right? But nothing replaces input from our own community members. So it's very important that we hear from all of you, and you can call City Hall too. There's multiple ways that you can reach out to the city. And then once a policy gets developed and it comes before the council for a decision, typically there's at least one opportunity. Sometimes there's as many as 4, because if we change city code, usually we have a public hearing where the public can come and comment. We usually have 3 readings of the ordinance, and so there's plenty of time at a council meeting to attend as well, and make your comments. In addition to that, many decisions come before a board or a commission before they come to the council. So if you have an issue with, development, policies, those kinds of things, all of that kind of information generally has a discussion among the planning and zoning board before it comes to the council. So these are just, I'd say, sort of, intersections, points where people can come and convey their opinion on things, and have that inform the decision of the council. Yeah. You saw this recently with some of the animal ordinances that council passed, as the mayor mentioned. The council spent a good, year or more talking about talking about animal ordinances, and all of that information they received, letters, phone calls, people coming to council and speaking, all of that shaped where we went with that code. And so it's vital to provide your input. Yeah.
Very good. I'd like to remind people that the City of Muscatine website, muscatineiowa.gov, is a great source of information. As Carol mentioned, we do have various boards and commissions that you can contact if you have specific questions. The website also has the email addresses for City Council and for the mayor, and for all our department heads, so you can contact them too if you have questions in regards to their areas. The other part of the website, there is a let us know segment, which you can fill out on specific questions, and it will be sent to the people that are most responsible to get those problems resolved. You can also send us an email at feedback@muscatineiowa.gov to let us know general questions or specific questions, or just to give us a comment. I mean, just let us know. That's all we're asking for.
I would also mention, if you are inclined to serve on a board or a commission,
Yes.
we often have vacancies for boards and commissions. So all that's information is on the website. You can see where terms are ending, for different members of those boards. So, if you're not ready for to run for a city council, but you would like to be involved in your local government, that's always a great option, I think. Yes.
I know, Mayor, you're going to have a few more things to say here in a little bit. Is there anything you want to add at this time and wrapping up this segment?
No, thank you, and great feedback, by the way. I like those questions that were asked as well. But yeah, I would say that the big thing is, we just know that we got to work together, not only on the city level, but also in the community. And we have a really good city council right now as well. And I just like how everybody's working together. Yes, people don't agree on everything. That's life. But at the end of the day, we all get to still work together. We get to, talk to each other still as well. So I would just have to say, keep up the teamwork.
Carol, would you like to say anything else?
No, it's just been a pleasure working with Mayor Bark, and I know he's only 3 months in, but he's already had a lot of water pass under the bridge. And I think we've got a good team going here, and so I'm excited about it. I feel very optimistic about the coming year, and I think we're going to move some good things forward for Muscatine.
Well, thank you, Brad. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you. Thank you, Kevin and City Administrator Webb, for your time in helping with the State of the City address. We have known of the stagnant population number, and with these new projects in the queue, we will organically increase the number of people living here. The city is committed to partner with developers on every step of the way by giving incentives and also help with navigation from the initial idea to the finishing product. We will increase our housing inventory and work with contractors and developers to assure the goal is met or go above and beyond our goal that was stated and adopted in the housing plan. Muscatine is strong when we all work together and walk hand in hand through challenges that will arise. We are not a large city with hundreds of thousands of people. We are a rural community with blue and white collar community members. Just like each one of us is uniquely made, our city is uniquely built perfectly between Iowa City and the Quad Cities right along the mighty Mississippi River. If we want to see a vibrant and fruitful community, we need to take pride in our community by helping take care of the sidewalks and care for properties to help make Muscatine beautiful. We need to celebrate accomplishments when they present themselves and rally around those that may need assistance. Remember to always talk to the source, and remember to respond, not react to situations. Based on conversations with many community members and leaders, we need to stop working in silos and break down the barriers and collaborate for the best case scenario for Muscatine. I urge each one of the citizens in Muscatine to stay positive and be the light not only in your household, but in your neighborhood, which will then in turn make Muscatine stand out even brighter. Muscatine, this is how we build our community and make it stronger. Let's keep moving forward and working together for generations to come. Be your best, and God bless.